Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have President of the Republic arrival in Beijing to take part in the second summit of the One Belt, One Road initiative. USA-Iran US sanctions on Iran's raise oil prices. Welcome to our newsroom. The President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, arrived in Beijing, capital of China, to participate in the second summit of the initiative A Belt, a Road. The trade of the road and the silk is an international economic partnership which belonging to all the continent of the world, in particular Africa, Asia and Europe. Its main merit lies its concern to establish a continuous and fluid process in global economic transactions and exchanges. It is
We are in front of the international airport of Beijing, where the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, arrived. He will participate the second summit of Silk Road. He also participate celebrations commemorative of the 4th anniversary of establishment the diplomatic relations between Djibouti and China. The two countries share the same visions and the same values since its creations in 1979, 2 years after independence year of our country. Also, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, will meet his counterpart face-to-face meeting in the cell line of the summit. Awa Abdi, RTD, Beijing.
For his part, the ambassador of Djibouti to China, Abdullahi Migil, explained the most issues discussed by the leaders during this summit. Our country, within this global economic program, serves as a services and relay platform for all countries in the Eastern African region in Beijing, China. In addition to his participations in the international summit on world trade in the road and silk, President Ismail Guelleh will meet the sidelines with the political leaders of the countries, including President Xi Jinping. In the matters of public health, following the recent upsurges of malaria cases in our country, Prime Minister and acting head of government Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed presided over an important meeting this afternoon to take stock of situations and evaluate the situations, the response to the scourges that threaten public health. To this and several members of the government, representative of United Nations agencies and representative of the many Djiboutian institutions involved in the fight against the scourges of malaria participated in the meeting. After reviewing the situations, it was decided to set up an intersectoral committee quickly to organize an adequate and efficient response to the risks of spread of the malaria scourge in Djibouti, including public awareness and the medical care of patients. Under the chairmanship of His Excellency Muhammad Ali Ahmed, and in accordance with Article 22, paragraph 1 and 2 of the Rules of Procedure, the second plenary sessions of the first ordinary sessions of Parliament in the year of 2019 of the 8th legislature took place on Wednesday, 24 April 2019 at the National Assembly. This session was attended by Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, member of government, and all parliamentarians. In its agenda was the examinations of 7 bills, namely adopting the financial account of the International Airport of Djibouti for 2015 year, significant adoptions of the financial account of the Djibouti International Airport for the 2016 financial year, a strategic orientation is for the development and promotions of tourism in the Republic of Djibouti, modifying and completing the Code of civil procedure, amending and supplementing the civil code, amending and supplementing legislations on commercial matters. At the end of the discussions and after the favorable vote of the whole of the project were adopted, certain with the amendments. Before the adoption of the intense debate was drawn between parliamentarian and government members, Minister of Justice answers questions. Listen to the report.
What are the appropriate criteria that will define this designation, and what will be the fate of our elders to be served the homeland before and after the independence of our country? Thank you. But still, why do you think you need to make new edits after only a year? Putting it into practice, indeed, like my colleagues, I find it extremely short to make a judgment of correct value to an evaluation. If the errors you are trying to correct now are so obvious, why not being detected during the preparatory work? State you, assessors of the customary code that sit in the district and the mayor of Djibouti remains unchanged. I even told their reporter their elected representative. They render a valuable service to the nation, and they are people we value very much. We had a contradiction between what we wrote in 2018 in the Civil Code and Commercial Code. Should it leave such contradiction? For example, in the Code and Commerce says that the securities are registered by the ODPIC, while in the Civil Code it says that the securities are registered by a registered place at the central bank. Was it necessary to leave all this inconsistency? No, I consider that the law was evolutionary, and if one realized that there is an error in the manifesto or there is a contradiction in two laws, it must be modified. I want to thank you for all the diligence, your active participation throughout our work. Your involvement demonstrates once again the importance you give to improve the living condition of our population through its different laws and we just adopt.
The President of the National Assembly, Muhammad Ali Humed, received in his cabinet the President of the University of Aden, Dr. Al-Khadr Nasser Ahmed, in the presence of his collaborators. Discussion is focused on strengthening cooperation between Djibouti and Yemen, two friend and brother countries. The exchange is also focused on the issue of sharing experience in training. Finally, meetings, the President of the Assembly handed gift to the President of the University of Aden, who thanked the President for his hospitality. The delegate ministers in charge of decentralization, Mohamed Aramis, and the representative of UNICEF in Djibouti, Janab Boumahonde, signed today at the Cabinet of Ministries of Decentralization an agreement of an action plan covering the period 2019-2020. On this occasion, the UNICEF representative in Djibouti, Janab Boumahonde, highlighted the importance of civil status, which allows, she said, every child is to enjoy all their rights and to be recognized as a full citizen. Janab Boumahonde expressed satisfaction with the collaborations with the Ministry of Decentralization on the issue of civil status and congratulate the latter for the work done. She called for the continuation of this strong partnership between the Ministry of Decentralization and UNICEF. The Minister, for his part, Mohamed Aramis, meanwhile thanked UNICEF for the support it provides to his department. He emphasized that this signature is a continuation of these excellent collaborations. He said, our working meetings on the group of partners for social protection was held yesterday morning at the People's Palace. The workshop co-chaired by the Secretary General of the Secretary of State for Social Affairs, Ifra Ali Ahmed, and the coordinators of the United Nations system, Ms. Barbara Manzi, was attended by the representative of the sectoral ministry, the MINFOP, Ministry of Work, the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, the Ministry Delegate to Decentralizations and Development Partners, including UNICEF, UNDP, FAO, and WHO. After the minute of silence observed in tribute to the victims of attacks in Sri Lanka, the Secretary of State for Social Affairs, Ms. Ifrah Ali, made a presentation on the state of progress of the social protection, notably on the phases of operationalizations of the National Strategy of Social Protection 2018-2020. The Secretary General did not fail to insist on the transversality of social protection, hence the importance of coordinating all actors to achieve the objective. The United Nations Systems Coordinator, for her part, emphasized the importance of strengthening the government-related policies so as not to leave anybody behind. She welcomed the alignment of the SDG within the goals of the Secretary of State for Social Affairs National Social Protection Strategy. In the end, this workshop was an opportunity for the participants to discuss ways and means to provide sustainable solutions to the levels of poverty that affect our population. The Director General of the National Agencies of Persons with Disability, Mr. Douale Said Mahamoud, and the Director General of the National Institute of Statistics of Djibouti, Mr. Idris Ali Sultan, signed this morning a conventions partnership at the NPH. The purpose of this partnership agreement is to describe the conditions of engagement and the obligation between the two parties in the context of improving the living conditions of persons with disability, fighting discriminations against disabled people, the removal of obstacles encountered through existing and future social integration. As part of this agreement, the NPH undertakes to work closely with the ENSD in the diagnosis, development, and implementations of a statistical strategy of disability, the integrations of the disability dimensions in all survey and national studies to extend possible the training component for statistical staff on the sectoral ministries and partners institutions, as well as the staff of the NPH in the collections, analysis, and disseminations of disability statistics taken into account in this convention. For his part, the Director General of the National Agency for Persons with Disability, Mr. Douale Said Mahamoud, said that NPH will collaborate with the ENSD in the file of technical coordination, ensuring the harmonization, the use of methods, common concept, and tools in disability statistics. Also, the ENSD will put its expertise to benefit the NPH. The Turkish medical mission has been working at 50 general hospitals to provide free consultations and advanced surgical procedures, indeed composed of eminent doctors and experienced surgeons. So on the hospital Acıbadem, the Turkish medical mission was able to consult more than 200 Djiboutian patients, and 50 of them were able to benefit from specialized surgical intervention. At the end of this mission, the Secretary General for Health Ministry, Dr. Saleh Benita Turab, paid heartful tribute to the excellent health cooperation between our two countries, particularly through trainings of doctors of medical mission that are now permanent. These activities concern medical surgical specialties as diverse as various, such as pediatric surgeries, ophthalmology, nephrology, including fistula. For his part, Peltier Hospital General Director Hussein Mohammed Hussein reiterated his heartfelt thanks to all members of the Turkish medical mission who successfully conducted the consultation and surgical operations in Djibouti. Last Tuesday in the mornings, a ceremony was held in the Djibouti State Gymnasiums, marking the end of a Level 1 coaching training courses launched by the Djiboutian Handball Federations at the Anglais stadiums. 10 days after the closing event, which benefit 36 handball coaches, saw the presence of the Handball Federation staff, the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, Sports Director Mr. Abshir Ali Hassan, the international expert Mr. Ivan Laurent, and the supervisors in charge of training, as well as several dozens keen on this discipline, which is gaining more and more in practicing and performing. It should be noted that 15 recipients, including 13 licenses and 31 two learners, were pleased with their success. According to the international expert, this training is more successful than the previous two. It also raised the idea of creation of handball schools, because he said Djibouti now has the skills required for the realization of such a project. As part of the implementation of the project, strengthening national capacity to improve decision making and the integration of environmental obligations, teams from the Ministry of Housing, Urban Planning and Environment, the Ministry of Decentralization initiated work meetings with the Tikil prefectures and the regional councils to discuss the main lines of the project, capacity building project, executed by the Ministry of Housing, Urban Planning and Environment in collaboration with UNDP, and funded a GF morning of sensitization on the obligation under the Rio Convention. Following the purpose of this project is to strengthen the capacity of national institutions to monitor and comply with international environmental commitment. Thus, it provides, among other things, the decentralization of environmental governance at the local level and the sensitization of key stakeholders on the Rio Conventions that the Republic of Djibouti has ratified. For the international scene, U.S. sanctions on Iran, the prices of oil climbs. Donald Trump warms global oil market at issue. The announcement of the end of the exemptions granted to 8 countries purchasing Iran oil. These measures aim to put pressures on Tehran. The barrels at its highest level for 5 months. Immediately, the news makes crude oil prices jump between Mondays and Tuesday. The price of a barrel of Brent climbs 39% to settle at $74 Tuesday noon, the highest level in 5 months. This rise in oil prices is a source of concern for economists, according to other settlers, specialists in financial market. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.